keep a track of. Discounting is not the answer. Dropping room rates and offering heavier or heaviest discounts, the hotels that do that, be they small, be they boutique, be they large, they will be the last ones to recover when the demand eventually returns. It will return, there's no doubt about that. It's just a matter of time. Question is, how much time? That we don't know. Then here is another interesting thought from a hotel management magazine. It says it will take the US hotel industry approximately 5 years to achieve a pre-COVID-19 occupancy, because I don't know if the US is going to be the most important indicator, but thus far it has given indications in a lot of industries globally. So I have just picked it up from there. Maybe in India it's not 5 years, it's something 3 years, but God forbid. It talks about hotels, very interestingly, it talks about hotels to implement urgent, aggressive is a word that comes easy to the US. I think you all know what I mean. Urgent, aggressive cost containment initiatives, including deviations from brand standards, closing F&B outlets. Now see, closing an F&B outlet is not only aggressive, but it's also very, very, it can be damaging to, it can be damaging to the brand. But again, that's how a US person will think, that okay, just shut it down. They hire and fire, as you all know. Sometimes, so firing is like a closing down in F&B outlet. So you have to let everybody go. You just sell off everything and say, okay, let me cut my losses. Instituting, I beg your pardon, instituting comprehensive cleanliness and sanitation protocols, crisis management programs. Now, this is where the costs are going to be focused, rather than painting a mural in a lobby, or just going berserk on spending in terms of say decoration or wall decoration. All that's going to stop forever. I think at least forever, if not forever, at least for 5 to 7 years. Hotels must focus efforts, energies, and resources on getting through the pandemic and prepare for a recovery real quick. Operational, marketing, and financial. I put financial first, but in talking here, I'll put it at the end. I'll take another 5 minutes, folks. So in terms of marketing, the first question to answer is, how should you be budgeting, during this period? That is now. How should you be budgeting as on 23rd of April, a Thursday? If you are in a hotel, if you're in a marketing, how would you be doing it? How should you be doing it? Again, some of this information I have taken from 1 or 2 general managers of ITC. I called them up late last night and I took information from them. So here's what they have to say. As a general rule, if you can maintain your marketing budget during this crisis, you should be able to do it. But if you can cut it down by 50%, but not more than that. So if you're currently look at the last point. If you are currently spending, let's say 10% of your gross revenue on marketing, then don't go below 5. That's a rule of thumb. There are many things that you can do now that you have the available time, because your room is not selling, people are not coming, nobody's coming to the restaurant. But you can do something in terms of your time, in terms of the available time for marketing. And what is that? You can audit your marketing assets. You can record videos for social use, for social media use in the future. You can plan a webinar. You can, talk to your, your most favored, say, customers on the web. You can update your website. You'll be surprised. This is something which when I read, I thought, hey, let me just give it a shot. I actually logged into 3-4 hotels' websites, and I actually called up the number, and the number doesn't work. Seriously. I mean, can you think of a hotel in April 2020 which has a number which doesn't work? I mean, what is that hotel going to do? Maybe they forgot about it, sure, but then now is the time to do it. Also, dive deep into your analytics and sales and your leads and data. What do you know about your customers? Do you know everything about them? Do you know what happened to people who didn't come? Why didn't they come? So this is a lot of introspection about your data that you can do. I then called up two of my friends who are hoteliers, and one of them is has been a hotelier for about 40 years, and the other is a lady who runs a boutique hotel, in UP, in Dehradun. So here are random thoughts I got from them, and I'd like to share this with all of. I hope you can all see this. It says, firstly, you'll have to redefine the revenues, you'll have to redefine costs, you'll have to redefine the rationalization for a revenue. I mean, if the projected occupancy is 50%, then please close down. Actually, close down 50% of the rooms, cover them up with sheets, and just lock up the rooms. Because why are you going to you're going to be spending money unnecessarily? Open only banquets, and eat 16 to 18-hour coffee shop. Coffee shop can double up as a bar. Keep things like the gym closed. Renegotiate all AMCs downwards. Renegotiate insurance costs. Most hotels will concentrate on saving costs, which are good, but in his opinion, he says the general manager should focus 80% on revenue and 20% on saving costs. Wow, that was something interesting. Then he said, stop loyalty programs, suspend it for 6 months. Control air conditioning. Don't worry about a light and a fan in an office. Of course, that is also to be done. But the main cost comes, in the air conditioning, hundreds of times of a light or of a fan. Let the lawns dry up, no problem at all. Grow plants that need less water. Wow, this is something really nice. The swimming pool is a must. Do a lot around the pool, maybe do a barbecues and so on and so forth. Keep your orientation towards the customer, because once you lose the customer, as it is, there's a lot of loss going on. But once you lose the customer, then it's going to be very difficult to get him or her or them back. Here are some suggestions from the boutique hotel owner, and here's what she had to share with me on hotel revenues and costs during now and later. So she said the first thing is they'll have to think of multiple business propositions. So these are owners of hotels with 16 to 18 to 20 rooms, and believe you me, they don't have very deep pockets, and they don't have funding from investors. They may have one or two uncles or aunts who put in money, but by and large, they are operating on a pretty much day-to-day, not day-to-day, I would say month-to-month basis. Some of them have even talked about the fact that they may need to look at changing the scale and the nature of the business. They may want to change it, and they may want to open a school there. They may want to open a yoga retreat. They may want to make it into a health resort. I mean, these are realities facing hotels. I mean, and if people are considering this, I don't think they are wrong. Cost cutting is high, as the staff with multi-purposes are being given salaries, the rest are being asked to go home. I mean, that's a fact. I know as a finance person, I can share one thing with you, that nobody has a tree outside their house from where they can just pluck a 500 rupee note or a 100 rupee note. It has to be earned. So if the avenues for earning have gone down, then then what? So it's going to be zero. So if you're going to be earning zero, how can you spend from that zero? Interestingly, they talked about baking classes, food festivals, which they plan to do now on the web. I said, wow, food festival on the web. So yeah, she said yes, they would welcome me on that. So as I get some information on that, I'll be happy to share it with all of you. Managing expenses, taking care of wear and tear for a minimum of 6 months is fine. So she gave me an example. She says a minimum of, now here's something which is a real, it's a real figure. It's not just a statistic. The minimum of 3 lakhs is being spent on managing salaries for staff and wear and tear of a 15 to 17 room property. Right. Now, getting clients and managing a base of 3 lakhs at a time is going to take, at the most you can do it for 6 months, 18, 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs. What happens after that? So they are looking at giving away their property to an ashram or make it into a farmhouse. I found that a little amusing, but we shouldn't put it past the fact that they might just do it, because what works well for some people, because they may have ancestral property, they may have an ancestral name in the in the market, and they may have a good relationship, with their staff, etc. So that will help them tide over for a few months. But what after that? What happens, to the revenue after that? And revenue will come only then the cost will be incurred out of that. So I've come to the last slide. Are things as bad? Are they going to be as terrible? Okay. Now, this is something that a lot of hotels are going to look for. Yes, we are open. I think on that optimistic note, I'd like to end my class. I'd like to end this lecture. That an epidemic such as the one we are now experiencing, it will require a lot of planning. It will require a lot of it will require a lot of imaginative and innovative planning, I would say. And one should not be averse to taking risks. One should not be averse to thinking that, oh, competition is not doing it. Do you think we should try it? I think you should. Give it your best shot. Just make sure that capital investment is kept at a minimum. Revenue should be earned as fast as possible. And even if there is a way of earning revenue from hotel customers without their coming to your hotel, that should be looked at as a first thing, so that one can go ahead and get them to e-pay, whether it's through the banking system or whatever, and then you can go ahead and defray your costs. So let's look forward, let's be optimistic and say, yes, we are open. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Good. Thank you very much, Rajiv. It was a wonderful presentation that you did. Our students must have picked up a lot of valuable information from your talk. You spoke to the students about the rooms, about food and beverage, about the minor operating departments which we should not neglect. They might be small, but they're not minor.
That's right.
So I know you also gave us information about what Mr. Raghu Ram Rajan himself said, and we believe that you were fortunate enough to attend his webinar.
Yes.
Maybe we should also be able to do that, and maybe through your good offices, we should get him to our university one day.
Definitely.
And also your insight about the COVID situation and how such a situation can be dealt with was indeed a very, very, very informative and very useful subject that you spoke about. Thank you very much, Rajiv.
You're very welcome.
Now, in fact, 12 o'clock, the students have to go for the other class.
Yes.
We are absolutely grateful to you, and we'll always be in touch with you and have you participate in many other programs that we do. Thank you very much, Rajiv.
You're very welcome. Thank you all. Thank you so much.